Good morning and welcome everybody. We're in the middle of lockdown 2.0, as you well know, and welcome to my coffee shop, the only coffee shop which is open during lockdown. Can I get another skinny soya latte, please? Thanks very much. So I hope you've got your cup of coffee ready, and I hope you've got your property questions ready. I'm going to be joined by my special guest today, John Howard, who's my property elevator buddy. We've just finished series 2 of Property Elevator. Series 3 is coming out next year. So if you want to chat about that, we can chat about that, or anything property related. Now, it's kind of an interesting time, really, isn't it? I mean, this week we've got vaccine, that seems to work, we hope. We got end of lockdown and normality on the horizon. We can actually sort of visualize it that March, April next year is going to get back to normal. So what does all that mean for property investors? What are experienced property investors thinking about or focusing on in 2021? If you've got any questions that you want us to tackle in that regard, just let us know in the chat and I'll answer them. John will answer them and we'll have a little bit of a discussion. Just let us know if you just joined the conversation. Let us know where you're sort of joining us for your virtual coffee. Let us know what you're drinking as well. Hopefully it's not bourbon or anything like that. It's just a normal drink. So I've got several of you guys sort of coming in. Michael Jackman, good morning. He's getting involved in SASs. That's good to see. Who else have we got? Jay is talking about, you've got a question. We'll tackle that in a mo. That's brilliant. Buy-to-let property, looking to buy and run a hair and beauty business as well, renting out chairs. That's a good thing to do, actually. We've got a video on that on YouTube. I'll point you to that later on. We've got Manny who's saying we're in the process of buying a 90-year-old house. It looks very well maintained. Survey is about to happen. That's good. People are doing stuff in today's market. A lot of people joining us. Michael's joining us from Singapore. So I hope you've got a Singapore sling there instead of your regular coffee. So several people joining us now. Get your property questions ready. We shall tackle them. Let's just say good morning to my guest. John Howard, what's your coffee today?
Mine's a latte, and I can't remember you ever buying me a latte, Ranjan, which I cannot believe. But I don't think
there was that hotel in Mayfair. Do you remember? Just before
the hotel in Mayfair. Yes. Well, I think I stitched you up there because I think that was the most expensive latte you've ever bought anyone, wasn't it? That hotel. Goodness me.
I actually can't remember that one. Anyway, thanks for joining us today. I mean, John Howard, as people know, well, actually, you introduced yourself rather than me banging on.
Well, I've been a property developer and investor for 40 years, and over that time, I've bought and sold. I think getting on to nearly 4,000 properties during that time. The latest development I've done is 150 flats on Ipswich waterfront, £27 million development. I managed to borrow the money from the government. It was very nice of them to lend me some money.
Is that a bounce back loan?
Sorry?
A bounce back loan?
A very big bounce back loan. No, before then, and actually, I'm paying it off every week. Literally, every sale that happens now is called bullet repayment. Every sale, and we've sold nearly 100 already. So we've had in that respect, we've had a unbelievable year considering what's happened. And now I'm doing these. I've just launched my joint venture fund where I'll put money into other people's deals. I'll put the deposit in if they haven't got the deposit and share the profit with them if the deal is good enough, Ranjan. And I have to say, I don't want 1,000 people contacting me after this saying, can you fund my deal? Because at the end of the day, everyone's funds are limited. But if the deal's really good, then I'm sure we'll certainly look at it anyway.
Okay, so we've just done Property Elevator together, series 2. What were the highlights for you of doing that?
I think the highlight was Nicholas Woolwork, I'm afraid, not you or me. I think he got the best deal, and I was gutted. That deal in Stoke seemed to me, I switched off to it as soon as he said, I'm not being rude about Stoke, but as soon as he said Stoke, and I think your eyes rolled a bit as well, Ranjan, because it was outside the M25.
Can I give that away?
Yeah, totally. But of course, I thought, well, how's this ever going to work in Stoke? And the guy was passionate about buying it. He loved the building, which is never good. Never, ever fall in love with a building. The only person you fall in love with is your wife, no one else. And certainly not a property, because it's a business. And he fell in love with it, and he bought it for the wrong reasons. He did everything wrong, really, didn't he? And then at the end, he was passionate about keeping it. He didn't want to sell it. And then Nicholas said, would you sell it? And after he said, I think I would, yes. I thought, oh my God, if he said that in the first place, we all might have been a bit more interested.
Absolutely.
Because all he wanted to do was have someone invest large sums of money into a property in Stoke, which isn't the sort of thing I'd like to do, to be honest with you.
So no, there's been some immense feedback from that show. But what amazed me was the quality of all the people who pitched. You know, like on shows like Britain's Got Talent, there's always someone who can't sing that rolls up, and there was no one like that, was there?
No, we had absolutely no one. I wanted someone to come in who was really cocky and thought they knew more than we did, which would be difficult with 5 experienced people. If you put all our experience together, I wouldn't have thought there's anybody in the country that can come in who's got more experience than the 5 of us put together, or even any of us, to be quite honest, to a point. But I really was hoping there'll be some young, cocky person come in and we could actually take them down a peg or two. But it didn't happen, did it? They were all very humble. They're all very intelligent, decent, kind people. And also, when you're investing in other people, and I've noticed this more recently as well with my new business, is that actually you're investing in the person as much as the deal. If you don't like the person, then you're never going to, however good the deal is, you're never going to do the deal with them. So they were all very likable, weren't they, Ranjan?
Yes, absolutely. Very, very good. Because you back the entrepreneur first, don't you?
I think so. You know, you need to work with someone. And we said on a number of occasions in the show, look, we like you, we just don't like the deal. You know, come back with a better deal or different deal next time, and we'll probably fund you.
Yes.
One of us will back you.
Yes.
So I think the next series, I think we're filming early March, aren't we?
Yes.
will be very interesting, and I think we'll have even more competition for being on the show, really. I mean, we had a fair bit last time in the end.
There were more than 100 people applied to be on.
I think this time I won't be surprised if we don't get 200 or 300. I mean, I think it's such an opportunity for people to come along, and even if they don't get the funding, what's come back to me through people talking to me was that, even if you didn't give the funding to these people, we gave a lot of knowledge and a lot of expertise and a lot of guidance to them. So next time they understand what they need to do, to get a better deal. And I think that education is so important in this business, because, it's one of the few businesses that you can lose your house, your home, you can lose everything if you get it wrong.
Absolutely.
And you've got to be edgy. You've got to know what you're doing. It's really, really important. Otherwise it's like crossing the road blindfold, literally.
One of the feedbacks I've had from people is they like the way we analyze the deals and look at the deals from different viewpoints. So someone comes in with something and they go out with a completely different idea of what that deal will be. And we all assess things and look at things in slightly different ways. And together, that's a very powerful piece of analysis. And when people are out there looking at their own deals, it gives people a lot of extra viewpoints and angles to look at new opportunities with.
I think you and I are the thickest two on the show, Ranjan, by the way.
Go on.
I do. If you look at the others, Paul Mahoney, as I always introduce him as the only Australia with 2 degrees. You got him. Paul is seriously bright. Then you've got Helen, who's even brighter still, Oxford University. What she doesn't know about numbers and how she works things out embarrasses me, because she is seriously sharp. And Nicholas Warwork, I mean, he's really bright as well. He wrote Brexit for Dummies. I mean, I read the first chapter and couldn't understand it. So I mean, these guys are seriously bright. And then there's you and me.
Oh yeah, there's you and me. Yeah, I guess so. No, I was it was quite intriguing being on the show, because this was my first. I did 1 episode in series 1.
Yes, you did. And, That's why I asked you back, because you did okay.
It was a little bit. I mean, I can imagine how nerve-wracking it is for the people coming to pitch, because I was feeling a bit nervous when we started shooting.
Yeah, it is, and until you get into the swing of things, once you get the first one or two out the way, it's, you're okay, aren't you? Your nerves go. But of course, we want it to be a success, and we want to help these people. So, we're all in the same boat, really.
So actually, I mean, this has been set for some time now. That we're back for a third series. That series films in March, and we got vaccines coming out. We got the end of lockdown in sight. Yes, we're going back into this tiered system, but it should start to taper off February, March. So it could be a very, very interesting time to film that series. What do you think the future holds, 2021 holds for property investors?
Caution. I think it was David on my YouTube the other day said, I put a prediction on there in March, April time during lockdown and what to be careful of. And he contacted me the other day and said, well, you didn't get much of that right, did you? Which I think he's been a bit previous, because to me, we're nowhere near what my predictions I made were to be cautious this year and to be even cautious, be cautious, and the deals will come at the end of next year, probably 2021. Now, I think he's been a bit, to be fair, to me, I think he's being a little bit unkind to me, because property's a slow boat. It takes a long time to stop and turn around sometimes. And I think, it isn't a quick fix. There's no quick fix in property, really. And I think next year, if I said to you, is unemployment next year going to go up or down, Ranjan? I expect you'll say it'll go up. Do you think there'll be more? Is the economy going to recover within 12 months? No, it's not. All the signs are that it's going to be tough next year. And I know this year we've all been caught out by how well it's been. I mean, in March time, I was seriously worried. I had 35 million pounds worth of property to sell, and we're in lockdown. And I've got 5 estate agencies in Norfolk, all been furloughed by 2 people. But if I said to you, we've come back, we've had a record year in the final country business, a record year, which is amazing. The sales have kept going in my developments. I am very, very pleasantly surprised. I thought the domestic market would be okay, but I didn't think it would end up where we are. And I've also managed, as I'm a deal junkie, to spend £1.8 million in Birmingham on a site that is part finished. So the bank went bust, small bank went bust, the developer went bust, and we managed to pick it up. So you could say I've sort of hedged it a little bit. Maybe I'm a bit soon to buy, but I couldn't resist it. It was a good deal. There's lots of margin in it and lots of angles in it.
Yes.
So if things do get tougher, I know what I'm going to do.
So let's just dive into some of the questions that people are asking. Eve is asking, have you used vendor finance in your career? If so, what are the risks?
Vendor finance, I'm assuming I haven't done ever, no. And I know this is quite a new, well, nothing's new in property, to be fair, but it's a technique that people have been taught, if you like, to try and use someone else's money and assets. Is always a good idea if you cannot use your own money, that's for sure. So I think what she means is it will, if the seller leaves some money in the deal or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And in my experience, I've always found it very hard to do. I've always found it hard because the problem is if the vendor doesn't give you a very long delay completion so that you can get your work done and sell it and buy off them the day you sell it, if you like, yourself. If you need any money from anywhere else, the difficulty is, will the vendor allow you to put a legal charge on that property from the bank? Because it means they get their money behind the bank. Yeah. So, and of course, if they've already got a loan on the property, then the bank won't be happy because they'll only have a second charge. So they won't likely to do it. So you really need to ask, the first question you need to ask anyone in that situation is, do you owe any money on the property? If they own it cash, that makes what you're trying to do that much easier. And it's hard to do anyway. So don't make it, ask the right questions to start with. to give yourself some direction of how you're going to do it.
No, spot on. I think good advice. I mean, I think it's very hard to. I've done a few. I wouldn't say I've done that many, but all of them have been the vendor has owned the property outright.
Absolutely, owned it
that
cash.
Gives them the option. That gives them the flexibility to do what they want.
Absolutely.
If a bank is involved, forget it.
No, I agree, Ranjan. Very good.
And also, it's just a way of slowing things down, because what it means is if they own the property outright, what it allows you to do is do stuff to get the uplift without having to put all the money down. And the vendor is saying, we'll wait a little bit. That's pretty much it.
And of course, the argument, Eve, the argument you should be making to the vendor is that you're investing some money into it's making their property worth more. So it's not like you're destroying their asset. You're actually increasing the value of their asset anyway.
Yes.
So if you can do it, Eve, do it. Good luck.
Ashley is asking, this is an easy one, what channel is Property Elevator showing on? It shows on Sky channel 192. The second series has finished showing. It was showing on Thursday evening, but you can catch them all on this YouTube channel. Just click on the Property Elevator playlist. We've separated all the pitches out into individual videos, and for what it's worth, I've got my reaction and commentary and extra analysis on those as well, so you can catch them on there. We're still releasing them every Sunday, so just make sure you subscribed if you haven't already done so to this YouTube channel, and you'll be notified when we upload. A lot of people talking about having espressos and green teas, and some people having a detox today, which is nice. Oh dear, every week, this is the thing with live, you see, every week there's someone who comes on and makes me want to have a little bit of a rant, and I'm going to kind of try to contain the urge. But the question here from Peter is, why do you call yourself entrepreneurs when you're more rentier than entrepreneur? I think that's having a dig at property as whether it is an entrepreneurial activity. What's your take on that? Are we entrepreneurs? Are we real entrepreneurs or not?
Is that Peter?
Peter Walton.
Well, Peter, I consider myself an entrepreneur because I'm adding value. I'm looking at different developments. I mean, I've been described as a social engineer before, which is probably a little bit far-fetched, taking areas of deprivation and turn them into places where people want to live. So I think if the government desperately need entrepreneurs across the UK, whether it's in tech, whether it's in property, because we are the drivers of the economy. You know, I've just finished a scheme in Ipswich. There was 220 people on site at any one time, £27 million it cost to do. You imagine the kitchens, the bathrooms, all the carpets, the windows, the glass, the paneling, the rendering. You know, look how much business that has done for the rest of the country. That's just one development. And that's why the government realised and how important the housing market is. And that's why I don't think in March, Rishi, our Chancellor, is going to get rid of the stamp duty completely. I think he might change it slightly, but I don't think he'll get rid of it. And that's why they're also going to guarantee these 95% mortgages. There needs more information about that, obviously. Yes. But I think that's what's going to happen, because they know that for everyone that buys a property, the average purchase, they spend 5% of the value of that property refurbishing in the first 12 months, spending money on that property. And that's so important to the economy. So I consider myself an entrepreneur. I understand if all you do is rent property out and don't sell anything, you could argue they're more like just landlords. But certainly I'm looking at different schemes across the UK, especially with my new joint venture fund, where we are empowering, I think, new property developers to get out there and make a difference in their areas.
I mean, no two bones about it. We are entrepreneurs. We're entrepreneurs because we take
risk.
We serve a market. We serve customers, and we take entrepreneurial risk where we can lose our shirt. And that is no different from any other entrepreneur. So I don't know.
So Peter,
I don't know why I get these sort of comments.
We disagree with you.
We disagree with you. Yes, I think that's a polite way of putting it, John.
Thank you.
Well done. Okay, commercial agents. I've got some people. Sorry, what was that, Connor? Oh, right. Okay. Oh, I'll come on to that later. Thank you. What's the commercial agents? If you're new, what's the best way of working with or building relationships with commercial agents?
Okay, well, commercial agents, Ranjan, are a very, very important part of my deal finding tools, if you like. Very important, because people tend to ignore the commercial agent. The difference between commercial agent and residential agents, by the way, on the whole, is I always think, and my commercial agent friends won't like what I'm about to say, of course, because I believe they're lazy compared to the residential ones. Very lazy. They don't work Saturdays. If you want to put a property on the market with them, they want you to pay some money up front and all sorts. They're totally different animal to the residential agent. But what they do have, they have a lot of clients, obviously, who are commercial. So we'll take a commercial view, be more professional normally. And normally, a commercial agent's clients take more advice from them. They would accept their advice better than they will from a residential agent. A lot of them are chartered surveyors. A lot of them are very well connected with some large companies. And of course, over the years, I've made a reasonable amount of money out of taking crumbs from the rich man's table. So you've got all these, you take Marks and Spencer's. Marks and Spencer's closed, it's an example. It didn't work for me because a man called Ashley bought it instead, Mike Ashley. But
he's buying everything.
I was buying, in Yarmouth. I was buying the Marks and Spencer's building in Yarmouth. Marks and Spencer's just wanted to get rid of it. Shareholders' money, no one's personal money. It's shareholders' money. So they do care what they get. But to be honest with you, anyway, I was paying $350,000 for the whole building, 24,000 square feet. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Mike Ashley came and gazumped me. He's got a lot more money than me, Ranjan. So hey, what could I do?
Peter Walton has just come back and said, "Good answer, by the way." The comment was half tongue in cheek, but you've convinced me, so that's good. One good. Happy customer in that's our good. Virtual coffee shop.
Fantastic.
So there are a lot of people talking about some massive doom and gloom for 2021. Some people think there's going to be a crash of all crashes in the property market. Yeah. What's your take? Are we going to see a crash?
Well, do you know what? If you look back at my YouTube from April, I did say it's a two-tier market. The domestic market, I think next year will be okay. I think, as Paul Mahoney, our great friend, says, it's a micro market. He's absolutely right. So if you're in Derby and Derby have lost 7,000 jobs with Rolls-Royce, whatever it is, then obviously Derby's going to be under pressure. And by the way, Derby Council are starting to give grants out on property. So it may be worth, if you're interested up that way, talking to the council, because they are interested in trying to kickstart things up there. Mm-hmm. Other areas of the country, property market may go up next year. So, it just depends where you are. But the domestic market, I think on the whole, will be okay. I'm not saying it's going to go up, but I think it's going to be okay. I think central London is very vulnerable. I may be able to get my Mayfair flat at some point. You never know in the next 2 years. Ranjan, I probably won't, but who knows? If it drops enough, you never know. So I think domestic market, if you want to move, get on and move. It's not going to change your life if you don't. It will change your life if you do. So move. In terms of residential development and dealers and developing, the auction market's been incredibly hot, far hotter than I ever thought it would be this year. That won't continue next year, I'm sure. It will slow down. There will be more opportunities. I'm seeing opportunities already with distressed stock, which is where I like to be at the moment. And I said I've already bought some and hopefully buying some more shortly as well.
John,
but the margins, the margins in that stock, Jan, are high. You want to increase the margins you're working on because you don't know quite what's going to happen.
Distressed stock, great stuff. I fully agree. I just wanted to get your opinion on auctions. Because I'm wondering really whether auctions is an opportunity to sell as opposed to an opportunity to buy right now.
Well, I always like to have a property in an auction because it's great cash flow. Great cash flow. I love the fact that once that hammer comes down, I get the money in 28 days. I'm not begging solicitors for 3 months to sell it and all the rubbish you go through. And some of these lawyers these days are just, I mean, they've got this, would you believe it, Ranjan? There's solicitors now saying, oh, they're too busy. I won't be able to get the deal through till February or March time. I mean, it's just disgusting. All they've got to do is read a bit of work. All they've got to do is read and check things, checklists these days almost.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And it drives me insane. But what I would say is that auctions are a great place to sell at the moment, not the greatest place to buy, but that will change. And what you find is auctions are a great barometer because whatever happens in auctions happens everywhere else next. So when the auction market starts to dip, the rest of the market will dip afterwards. At the moment, last month they sold 74% clearance rate. But don't forget that's only on the properties that are offered on the day. Yes. So if there's no bids on properties, those don't go into the figures. So the 74% is probably 60%. Absolutely. Because if they don't get a bid or if it's withdrawn prior to the auction, they don't go into the figures.
So there's end in sight, as we've discussed, lockdown, vaccine, all of this. But that may be coming too late for some businesses, smaller businesses and their cash flows. They're already at the end. There's already no fuel in the tank already. And they're having to close and properties are becoming sort of repossessed, particularly commercial properties, shops, all of this. Although the market turns the residential market may stabilize and we get out of this COVID crisis, there's still no turning back for some small businesses, and those closures are just going to continue. There's going to be a lag behind the dawn of new light, is there not?
Totally, because what's happened, and the other thing I didn't say earlier was because the market has been so good, the domestic market, residential market's been so good, it's managed to save a lot of developers who probably were on the edge. So what it's done, it's papered over the cracks, if you like, and pushed us forward a further 6 months. So what I think we might get some more deals in January to March time. I'm not sure we will now. I think it will be more like September to the end of next year.
Yes.
When the floodgates, not floodgates, is too dramatic, I think, but when things open up more. So problems open up more. And I think we've come forward 10 years in 10 months in terms of how people want to live, what they want to do. Look at us on Zoom here. Who would have thought a year ago I'd been on Zoom once ever in my life? I know I'm a dinosaur, Ranjan, but so, it's everything is changing. Some things are changed for the better, some not so good, perhaps. I think people do like to I love meeting people, and I'm suffering a little bit from not meeting people. I love meeting people. But this is what you've done, especially with your YouTube and everything else, has been fantastic, Ranjan. And you're an example, a shining example, really. I don't like embarrassing you. But you are a shining example of how you've helped the property industry in the last 12 months and the education you've given, through your YouTube and so on. And I think, sadly, a lot of these shops that are in trouble, all we've really done is brought their problems forward a year or two. A lot of them were in trouble anyway. A lot of the big department stores, anybody who's got a property, a commercial property, in a let to a large tenant is likely to have the rent halved, if not more. That's if they can keep the tenants. Sadly that is what's happening. I can't see commercial rates coming back the way they were. I think we might go to a VAT system where it's linked to the VAT you pay, which I think is a much fairer way of doing it. I think things have changed.
Oh, you're talking about turnover rents?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think
how
things
do you
have
split
changed.
those businesses, though? I mean, because
I think on the
internet sales.
Yeah, I think I think it's difficult, but I think on the rates, on commercial rates, they're talking about doing it on the VAT. So whatever VAT you pay a percentage of that as your rates, and I think that's probably a much fairer way of doing it. I mean, at the moment you've got pubs paying ridiculous amount of rates because it's based on the turnover from 5 years ago or something. It's just ridiculous. So I think everything's going to change. We're not going to be paying. We're going to be in electric cars or hydro cars or whatever, and we're going to be paying per mile because otherwise there's no tax for the government. So this is an amazing change. In the next 5 years, this country is going to change beyond recognition, hopefully for the better. It's amazing. And anyone who's involved in industry or as an entrepreneur at the moment, there's so many opportunities. I wish I was, rather than being 39, I wish I was 21 again, Ranjan. I really do, because it's so exciting what's happening. So exciting.
Yes, I mean, well, I wish I was 21 again. I just hit 25, of course. So it's shocking for me as well. Going back to auctions, there's another sort of question which has been on my mind. I'd be interested in your view on this. Auctions have gone online. Do you think we'll be going back to the ballroom once we're all COVID clear?
Okay, well, of course, I wrote my book on auctions last year, and I based it on traditional auctions. That was a clever move, wasn't it? So, my argument there, actually, I do touch on online as well. And actually, as Auction House UK, I was a director there, as you know, for 10 years and owned a reasonable number of shares. We sold our shares 2 years ago now. And we trialed online auctions with 2 properties that I own myself. And because they were in good areas, they sold very well. But after that, the online business we just couldn't get it going. And one of the reasons we couldn't get it going is because the auctioneers love standing there on the rostrum doing their bit. They weren't keen on doing it online because they lose all their, they lose all their fans. Now
they've got used to it, though. Now they've got used to it, and it's cheaper.
Yeah, now they've got used to it. They've been forced to get used to it, and actually, I think there'll be a hybrid. I think what you'll find is that you'll have less people going to the rooms, but they'll be in a room. But you'll get less people going, but they'll be online as well, obviously. And I think a balance is like a lot of these things. It's like people going to London. People aren't going to London 5 days a week to work. A lot of people we know, Ranjan, won't. At our age, certainly won't. But they might go 2 days a week. And I think a lot of these things will be half and half. So I think you'll get some of the smaller auction houses not bothering with an auction room, but I think you'll get people with Auction House to the biggest Auction House, Allsops. I'm not comfortable bidding online still. I know whether I'm a dinosaur or not. And the one we bought off Allsops in Birmingham, we bought afterwards because it didn't sell. And that's the trick with auctions, especially going forward, is don't get caught up in the hype. See what hasn't sold the day after or that afternoon, see what hasn't sold and work away from there. It's quite a good tip.
Yes. And it's, I have bid on and done some online auction, not as a seller, but as a buyer. I have trust in the process. I don't know whether that's misplaced. Sorry?
Well, Jan, I'm slightly displaced probably because it's the auctioneer's job to get the most they can. The auctioneer's not your friend. No, he might make out he's your friend, or she might make out she's your friend, but she's not. She's on the side of the vendor, or should be.
Yes, but ultimately you go in with your maximum price that it's worth to you based on your research. And if you don't go over that price and you get it, you've won.
You've got to be disciplined. And 4 quick things you must do before you buy at auction. Please don't make these mistakes. So many people make them. 1, make sure you view the property. 2, find out why it's on the market. There's a reason. Go and see the nosy next door neighbour. They'll tell you more than any auctioneer will why it's on the market. 3, make sure you've got the funds to buy it. For goodness sake, don't put your hand up or press the button on the computer as it is now and not have the funds to buy it. It's Russian roulette and it's dangerous. And 4, make sure you have your legal pack read by a professional who understands, because there's things in that auction pack, if they're missing, then that's to give you some clues there's a problem. It's a sharp end of the market. Please be careful on that. Please be careful.
Buyer beware. We've had a question from SB, which I can answer this one. If they receive a bid, what happens if they receive a bid in the last 30 seconds? Well, most of the auctioneers will basically, if the bid is received in the last 30 seconds, they will extend the bidding by another minute. So it's a bit it's similar to in the room when they say going, and they they extend the bidding. The other thing that people don't know is this. Most of these auction platforms, they're very clever pieces of software. So the auctioneer, if you are hovering your mouse, your pointer over the bid button, the auctioneer can see, or they can see that all the registered bidders and where their mouse is on the screen. So if it looks as though your mouse pointer is hovering near the increase in your bid button,
how clever is that?
They will then pause it and allow it to, because as John said quite rightly, the auctioneer's main purpose is to achieve the maximum sale price. So Absolutely. A lot of tricks that used to happen in the room have now been adapted and reformed and reshaped for the online world.
I love the theatre of the auction. I love going to auctions. I've been going to auctions for 35 years and buying, and I love the theatre. I love to see people I haven't seen for ages. And of course, in the old days, Ranjan, you go to an auction, and if you were late and you missed the bid you missed the one you wanted, whoever bought it, you'd know them and you'd say, "Look, George, do you want to take $5,000 profit on that?" "Yeah, okay, John." And you'd sign the contract, another contract there and then, yeah. And that never happens anymore. They've got it. They're like this. "Oh no, it's mine. It's mine." "Well, I'll give you a profit." No. It's crazy. They're not true dealers. A lot of these people anymore. They're so scared they'll never find another deal. And of course, there's always another deal out there, and you need to make sure it's a good one.
I think no, you're right. I mean, back when I started looking at auctions in the late 90s, it was a lot of dealers and stuff like that. And I think what's one of the key things that's changed is the availability of finance. It is arguably easier to finance an auction purchase than it is to finance a property that you're going to purchase regularly. I mean, through bridging, it's easier to get a bridging loan than it is a long-term loan.
Yeah. And why is that, Ranjan?
Because I think it's easy money for them, quite frankly. I mean, the loan to value that they're offering on an already attractive price, which usually auction purchases are, and it's a very real indicator of value, because if you've won an auction, then there was someone else in the room willing to pay just a couple of grand less. So I think they have a big degree of confidence that this is the market price.
Ranjan, I totally agree. I can never understand why a bridger, and I don't think they all do, but why a bridging company you're paying 10 or 12% for probably, which is crazy in its first place. Why they then want a valuation done is beyond me. Really, I mean, it's ridiculous when you think about it. If you're putting 30% in and it's in an auction, it was in a public auction, and you bid on it and you got it. Why on earth do they need a valuer? Honest to God, why do they need a value on that?
Well, there are some catalogs and some companies that have done deals with certain bridges where they basically they give a pre-offer of a certain amount on every lot in the catalog,
which is very clever. And I think the auction business is getting slicker and more organised, and I think that's a good thing, because more of the public are now going to auctions. So and they require. When you and I were going to auctions in the 90s, I said, everyone in there, probably half the people you'd know. Everyone had the money to buy, or had a backer with the cash to buy. It's all changed, and it's changed for the better, because it's opened up, properties like shows like Homes Under the Hammer have opened up the whole of the market, really. And that's why Auction House was so successful. We went from 8 franchises to 42, because Homes on the Hammer was on every day, I should say. And just a quick one there. I sold Dion Dublin when he was at Cambridge United to Man United for £1 million. And of course, Dion now is on Homes Under the Hammer as one of the presenters. So, hey, I've sold people, horses, property.
Horses for courses, as they say. Well, listen, John, it's been fantastic. It's fantastic chatting to you, as always. That pretty much wraps up our Tuesday coffee morning extravaganza. By the way, where's that skinny soya latte, guys? And some shortbread to go with that, please.
Where was my latte? I'm going to have to wait now till hopefully it won't be as long as March when we do our third show to get my latte off you.
Yeah, we'll have to choose a different coffee shop to this one. The service is a little little bit slow here. Plenty to discuss, really. Property Elevator, you can catch the replays on this YouTube channel. We talked a little bit about the property market and what's in store for 2021. And I'm glad John says he doesn't think there's going to be a crash, and his comments were very sound, because I've got a video coming out tomorrow on YouTube, which is 10 reasons why I do not believe there's going to be a crash in 2021, and I'll lay it all out for you on that. So look out for that on YouTube, and join me next week at 10 o'clock, where we will have more coffee and chat with someone eminent from the property space. So, John, any final words for the viewers out there?
I would just be cautious, and I would look to try and get slightly better margin than you have in the past on your deals. Whether you're buying to keep it or whether you're buying to sell it makes no difference. You still need a good margin of profit in each deal.
Yes, absolutely. And you need as you rightly said, that snippet, I'd just like to emphasize, with this market, you need a greater margin than you would have done before in a booming market.
You need to be cautious. You need to be cautious. The market isn't going to be rocketing up, so you need to be cautious.
Absolutely. Listen, John, it's been wonderful. Thanks very much.
My pleasure.
Have a great day, and see you soon. And see you guys
see you very soon,
as well. Sorry?
Take care.
Take care. Bye for now, guys.